I've heard a couple of times people ask me, "Hey, Luke, how do you stay motivated eating this carnivore lifestyle? I mean, you eat the same thing every single day. How do you do it? What's your motivation?" And honestly, I'm not motivated. I mean, I was, but it's not motivation that makes me get up every day to eat a carnivore lifestyle. It's not a motivation that makes me get up and get ready to go to work every day. All those things are not long-term driven lifestyle things that require motivation. Motivation is what is used in the beginning to get the ball rolling. If you get motivated, you start taking action. When a person takes on a new activity or a new lifestyle, or what they want to turn into be a new lifestyle, obviously motivation is the first thing that they need in order to get the ball rolling. Now, if it's going to be a long-term situation, you really can't look as motivation is not what's going to work for the long haul. What you need to do, my personal opinion, what's worked for me, you got to take the motivation and let it develop into routine. If you don't do that, then you're constantly trying to remind yourself of what it is that motivates you. To me, that's like the beginning step. The motivating part is the beginning step that is used to initiate the action. And in the very beginning of this action, in other words, I'll put it in perspective. When I decided to go quote unquote carnivore diet, my motivation was that, you know what I'm going to do tomorrow when I wake up? I'm going to stuff my face with the foods that I've always wanted to eat all the time. These are the things that I dearly love: beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. Not always necessarily in that order, by the way. But that was my motivation. And for the first few weeks, hell, maybe even a month, I was motivated every day. I was like, this is too good to be true. And yet I'm 3 years later, and while I can't sit here and tell you that I don't have the same exuberance, the same excitement, but I'm not motivated every single day for this activity. It's built into my routine. Therefore, I make the case that what is it that replaces motivation? I mean, that goes back to my initial question that I've had from people like asking me, "Luke, how do you stay motivated?" Well, and when I tell you that I'm not motivated anymore, then what replaced it? After you stay motivated, after you do something long enough and it becomes routine, then the motivation isn't needed. And what I did was take my motivation ability, if you will, and put it into something else. I don't do 12 things at one time. I can barely function doing one thing at a time, so I'm not going to take on multiple tasks normally. But if there's something that I've always wanted to do, need to do, that I've been looking forward to doing or have been postponing, I take this newfound motivation that I don't use anymore to eat the lifestyle that I currently eat, and I dump it into something else. Luke, what is the something else that you would possibly be taking your motivation and using your motivation on? Well, I'm glad you asked. So I have a lot of different interests. Obviously, I have my hobbies, in which I surround myself with constantly. It's one of the things. I collect hobbies, by the way. I love them. I have a lot of them. And so anytime I want to partake in a new hobby, which I do occasionally, I get highly motivated. It's almost being overcome with a little bit of anxiety, constantly thinking about it all the time, in a good way. Of course, the biggest one for me is my marriage, the most cherished thing that I have in my life, my wife. And I don't get motivated every single day to spend the minutes, the hours, however long I can get with her. And I don't even really want to call it routine, although it is more routine than motivation. But what it is it's something like that is very well deeply integrated into, we'll call it routine. But it is a deep, fulfilling, meaningful routine. So it's not even, I mean, I'm drinking a cup of coffee right now, okay, and I like coffee. I'm not motivated every morning to wake up and make a cup of coffee or drink a cup of coffee, but as part of my routine, I do enjoy it. It is meaningful, and if I don't have a cup of coffee when I wake up in the morning, I soon start craving it and wanting it and desire it. Now, but it's not. I mean, I can go without the coffee. I can't go without my wife, and I can't go without my marriage, and yet I don't wake up every day. I'm motivated. In other words, motivated. I'm ready to take action. It's like, no, those were that was decades ago, and that's probably what drove the first, like I said earlier, the first actions that need to be taken in order to turn something that's going to be routine. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you're working on building a lifestyle, don't rely on motivation as being the key long-term fuel for your lifestyle, because you're not allowing it to mature into being a routine. And I personally believe that is a huge deal. Of course, you could say, well, why wouldn't motivation in doing something be more important than the routine or the eventual sustainability of this action? Because if you're not motivated, then you're not going to start. If you're not going to start, nothing becomes routine. And if nothing becomes routine, well, then you ain't got nothing. So obviously, the most paramount thing is to be motivated. My point is if you don't let that motivation mature, become to adulthood, and turn into a routine, then it's probably not going to be sustainable. Because if you need motivation every single day for something in your life that you're trying to turn into a lifestyle, I don't know, maybe it's just not something that can be routine. Maybe it's not the right lifestyle action that you need. I don't know. I'm just kind of beating around the bush here a little bit, trying to spitball through an idea. But I think about this sometimes. I mean, the motivation of this scenario is the temporary part. You're trying to get to, in regards to a lifestyle, you're trying to get to a permanent part. So if the lifestyle is going to be sustainable, which is the permanent part, you can't sit there and have any temporary parts in it. It muddies the water, so to speak. So that's the way I look at it. If you become motivated in a new activity in your life, don't let it slip away. Your motivation is like it's like the kickstart. You know, it's like this is something in your life that is telling you, listen, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take some action. Don't be afraid to dig a little deeper into this. I mean, motivation is kind of a flourishing of an interest. And if you don't do that, then you end up doing nothing. Why would you waste time doing nothing? So when you encounter some kind of motivation in doing something, for heaven's sakes, entertain the idea of actually taking action on it. It's how you get to the next stage in every single process in our lives. And I took on this carnivore. I was motivated. I was highly motivated and excited, and immediately took action. Now, you can insert anything you want. You don't have to use carnivore. Use a hobby. Use anything. Use anything that's in your life that kind of triggers you. Like, oh yeah, I get that's exciting. That sounds exciting to me. That's what I'm talking about here. And if you let that motivation slip past you, and the reason why it could slip past you, you want to know why? Because it's not a permanent thing. It's temporary. And that's the design of it. But if you don't, but it's certainly going to be temporary. It's going to be extremely temporary if you don't take action on it. I'd like to close with obviously just doing a quick recap. If you get motivated on something, take the time to take some action. And if you're still motivated, do it enough, carry it on long enough, enjoy the process and enjoy the journey. And before you know it, it becomes routine. And then take your newfound time that you've spent being motivated on what you've now created into a routine, dump it into something else, start another one. Let's progress as being people. And for heaven's sakes, let's do it in a positive, respectful way. You know, there's a big thing in the world, like everything in the world. All of it, you could argue, is basically out of our control. And I've talked about this in ad nauseum, about control and circle of influence. For heaven's sakes, I am now in a routine, sustainable mindset when it comes to my time and my life force energy that I put into things that I can control and things that I have influence on. And I almost mitigate down to damn near zero any life force and energy put into something that I don't have any control over, will never have any control over, and or any influence on. Dump your life force into yourself, into your family, into your immediate family, into your neighbors. Those are the things and people that you do have some control over and you do have some influence on. The minute that you do that, your time and your energy, you will feel better about yourself, about the time and energy that you've put into certain projects. Nothing more can be more detrimental with your time than focusing on something that you will never be able to change or have any influence or control over. And I'm just using the world as a big example because there's a lot of things going on in this world that you just don't have control or influence on. Guys, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. I love doing these videos. I've got lives on Friday. I'm trying to keep it at noon Pacific Standard Time. Drop in, say hi. This is Luke, Captain Carnivore. Thanks for hanging out today.